hypnotized. What's up is down, what's left is right. Chasing stars and holding you. I can't see the end, but we'll see it through. Times don't fly too high. Be sure to keep the ground in sight. Fly forever if you keep it tight. Love the world, but keep the sky on your mind.
Go.
All right. We are live.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Hopefully, thank you for joining us this evening. We are, as you can see, a little shorthanded tonight. However, we do have lots to cover. I believe Dave is traveling, so definitely safe travels to him. Unsure of Blunty this evening, but and then Rob's got some family stuff. But we do have Dan and Alex with me tonight, so we'll get some stuff covered. And if you've got anything to add or you want to provide some feedback for us, that's always welcome. You can hit us up in chat and YouTube or over on our Discord tonight. Let me get this shared.
Let's see. Morton Upshot on YouTube is on the ball with the news already.
What's going on?
JB's new Freya on the map.
Did he go public with that already?
I know I didn't go public with it.
Well, you want to talk about that real quick?
Somebody knows apparently.
Well, here's the thing. I haven't updated my Freya map since January, so that's the easy answer.
That's why any new
It's
Freas
called I'm in the middle of
not...
my school semester and I haven't updated the map yet.
How hard is that to export and import to yours from theirs?
Takes maybe about 30 minutes to an hour.
Oh wow. Okay, that's a bit of work.
Because the way I process it on my map, so that people can find stuff easier instead of having to guess a general location and adding those pinpoints. That's what adds the time because of that post processing.
Yeah,
but it's not too difficult to do. I might be able to automate it. I just haven't put in the time to automate it.
Sure. That sounds like Joshua was talking about it during the news last night, but I didn't watch his news. So
it wasn't.
I didn't.
It got approved today, so it wouldn't have been on the news last night.
Well, somebody knows something.
Somebody's a time traveler.
Yeah, that's
awesome. All right, so you want to talk about that a little bit, Alex, or should we keep it down for now? Is it our news to share?
I don't know. I'm guessing Barbell would have said if he got a free or not, or will be saying that.
Okay, well, let's leave that for him, okay?
But
yeah. All right, so let me get this shared real quick. All right, so everybody knows my love of Ingenuity.
Yeah, the poor little helicopter.
The poor little helicopter. So it's done. Apparently during its last flight, its 71st flight.
Of how many were planned again? Of 71?
Five were planned. So after its 71st flight, it managed to damage one of its rotors. So there right here, it's kind of hard to tell, but right here in the center, it's sitting out in this little lonely field of sand, of Mars sand, all by its lonesome. And presumably that's where it will sit until man walks on Mars and we go rescue it. But
I wonder if
it
those
is
sand dunes shift at all. It could end up moving it.
there is weather on Mars for sure. There's wind. I do know that, and I would imagine it does shift. I know in the past the rovers have utilized the storms on Mars, the windstorms on Mars, to brush off dirt from the solar
right.
panels. So so it may end up buried at some point, and that'll be tragic. But
As Morton says,
uh,
it's now a parts drone for the next
right.
the next one they send.
So I told my wife about it because I talk about this thing all the time, and she's like, "No, somebody needs to go rescue it." And I was like, "Well, that's really
I'm
not
not
going to
doing that
happen."
walk of shame.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Well, can't the other drone pick it up?" And I was like, "No, not really." So
I think they've shown some slightly closer pictures of it, and most
yeah,
FPV pilots would be like, "Hey, you just fly with it. It's just a slightly damaged
right.
propeller." I'm sure it's not able
The atmosphere, yeah, the atmosphere
to
on Mars
handle a
is much different.
slightly goofed up propeller. They just have to
So
update their PIDs, and then they'll be fine.
yeah, there you go. Let's do that. All right, so the Perseverance rover snapped this image at 1:05 p.m. global time on February 4th that shows the little helicopter that could sitting alone on a barren Martian sand dune in Neretva Vallis. Perseverance rolled away from its broken companion, possibly for the last time. The image was beamed back to Earth and processed by visual design student Simeon Schmass, who stitched together the 6 raw images into a panorama. On January 18th, Ingenuity's rotors were damaged when it made a landing on what NASA called a bland patch of Martian landscape. Typically, the helicopter used rocks and other distinguishing features on the red planet to help it navigate, but the drone didn't have many visual cues during, 72nd and final flight. NASA confirmed the rotocopter damaged at least one blade when it completed the flight. While it landed upright and is still in communication with NASA's JPL, its flying days were officially over. The JPL is still analyzing the data or the damage. I apologize. We couldn't be prouder or happier with how our little baby has done, Ingenuity project manager Teddy Zantzos said during the event. It's been the mission of a lifetime. I wanted to say thank you to all the people here that gave their weekends, their late nights, all the engineers and aerodynamic scientists and technicians who handcrafted this aircraft. Let's see. Ingenuity was initially intended to do 5 test flights with the Perseverance over 30 days. However, this 4-pound helicopter just kept going. It flew 14 times further than planned and had a total flight time of 2 hours.
Longer than some of my 5 inches.
Right? Ingenuity hovered above the rotor, acting as a scout as Perseverance puttered along the sands of Mars. It lasted about 33 times longer than NASA expected. So that's epic. That's cool. Props to all the folks who worked on this. Just 5 flights into 72. That's amazing, and definitely beats Alex's record without crashing. So
I could certainly see how if it's hovering over us, those sand dunes, and there's no landmarks, and I can't really see the terrain very well, it could easily have dipped and hit one of those sand dunes and damaged the propeller.
So, thanks in part to Ingenuity's success, NASA has proposed using 2 helicopters in a planned Mars sample return mission. These small aircraft could help pick up the canisters of rock samples that the rover has been placing along the planet's surface. The orbiter for this mission is expected to launch in 2027 and the lander in 2028, with the samples returned as early as 2033. So guys, I need you guys to not just pick up the canisters, but pick up we need you to pick up Ingenuity and bring it back, because
So what is the risk of attempting to fly it again? Because if it crashes again, who's it going to hinder?
well, I mean, if
What's
you
the
think,
worst that can happen?
well, I mean, if it's still communicating, number one, that's a good deal in terms of being able to continue to send data back from its current location, right? So
Maybe
whether
they'll
that's
spin up the rotors to clean the dust off of it every once in a while.
that's not a bad idea, as long as it doesn't vibrate it and knock it over, right? But yeah, I don't really know the answer to that question. I'm sure people who are far smarter and brainier than I have
Seems like maybe
decided
they
that it's
did
not.
fly it after it was damaged, and then that's when it really had a problem. But I'm not exactly sure which flight was the damage and which one they called it.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. But we'll remember you, and I will fondly reminisce. And pretty cool. I don't know if anybody's into Lego, but Lego released a model of the Perseverance and Ingenuity, so that was pretty cool. I definitely want to get that. So, but yeah, so it's done. 72 flights. Congratulations. So moving on to something else that failed. Everybody, if you've been watching us for a while, when this first came out, we talked about it at length. And there were concerns, but not concerns regarding batteries. So, Snap, the parent company of Snapchat, gave up on its Pixie flying selfie camera drone after just 4 months. But it turns out the company sold just under 71,000 drones. And now the company is recalling every one of those drones because their batteries pose a fire hazard.
Oops.
Yeah. So,
That's a
whoops.
lot of money.
Yeah, it is. So, yes, the entire drone is being recalled, not just the removable battery, likely because Snap doesn't make those batteries anymore. So if you were one of the folks who got one of these, sorry. Um,
Well, don't
but
send it back and keep it as a collector's item because everybody else is going to get rid of theirs.
yeah, just
And
be
just
careful
don't
with those
use the
batteries,
battery.
right?
How much worse can the batteries be than the ones we use?
Yeah, it's a good question. So there have now been 4 reports of the battery bulging, 1 fire, and 1 minor injury. So,
I've had dozens of mine bulge and then catch on fire, and
well,
I
I mean,
haven't been injured yet
there's a
that I can
level of
remember.
difference between what we do and the knowledge that we have surrounding batteries, thanks to a lot of folks who have been through that same experience, because I've had batteries catch on fire as well. However, it's a little different when it's not a hobbyist community and it's probably more just a social media community. They may not be equipped as well to deal with stuff like that. So you can get a full refund for the entire drone. So approximately $185 back to you if you have one. You don't need a receipt, and you can apply for the refund even if you got it as a gift. You need to return the entire drone minus the batteries. There's some forms to fill out, but it says you should not drop them at your local hardware stores or big box stores like Target. There's a website to help dispose of the batteries. Let's click it and see what happens. How are we getting rid of these batteries? Oh, okay, battery recycling. Okay, cool. Well, that's not a bad idea. So, yeah. So be careful if you have one of these. Definitely don't want anybody getting hurt by exploding batteries. So, this was not the concern when we talked about it. The concern was more regarding to regulations and uh, people flying these without the knowledge. But everything runs its course, I guess. So, Alex, this is of interest to you.
Uh-huh.
Drone racing to be featured at the World Games of 2025.
Okay.
Weren't they at
So
a preview
Yeah.
event in the
they were,
past?
Yeah.
yeah, in Birmingham, Alabama in 2022. So,
That's
uh,
2022? I thought it was 2020. Oh wait, yeah, 2022. That makes sense.
yeah. So, the Fédération Aéronautique Internationale, or World Air Sports Federation, confirmed that drone racing will be included as an event in the World Games in Chengdu, China, following its debut at the 2022 Games in Birmingham, Alabama. The 11-day event, held every 4 years since 1981, features sports that didn't make the cut for the Olympics.
So it's every
So,
4 years. Oh,
Yep,
Wait, so
it's
why
every
would it be
4.
2025? It's every 4 years.
I think
Was
that
it
was the
delayed in
preview.
2021?
I think that was kind of the preview or the
Oh,
like trials or whatnot. So
Hmm.
this will be in 2025. In August 2025, 32 drone pilots from around the world will don FPV goggles and fly radio-controlled drones through brightly lit gates and other obstacles. The drones, which pilots often build themselves, can reach speeds faster than 100 miles per hour.
But not in the United States when flying under Part
No,
107.
99.9
recreationally, there's
miles
no
per
speed limit.
So this will be interesting to see. Obviously, drone racing has been taking off. I don't put it past the Olympics to include this in the future. Um, but yeah, this is definitely some cool stuff with actual athletics foundations recognizing its viability as a competitive sport. So yeah, big deal with this. And so they just go on to talk about the drones will weigh no more than 1 kilogram and be equipped with onboard video cameras, FPV goggles, so on and so forth. So a lot of the stuff we already know, but yeah, this is going to be pretty cool. Speaking of competition, we also have the game of drones where UAVs meet paintball. So I have questions.
How legal is that?
That's my question.
Depends which country you're in.
Are they virtual
So
paintballs or real paintballs?
supposedly they're real paintballs, and the article is very vague. So um, they talk about it's called Game of Drones, a sport where the technology of UAVs meets the classic high energy game of paintball. This innovative fusion delivers an electrifying experience, often offering a glimpse of the future in interactive sports. Game of Drones repurposes drones in a way never seen before. Participants fly their UAVs in an enclosed arena, navigating a 3-dimensional battlefield where strategy and precision flight skills are key. The objective: to tag opposing drones with biodegradable, non-toxic, paint-filled pellets that splatter on impact, much like traditional
Well,
paintballs.
that sounds like really attaching a paintball gun to a drone and flying it around.
Yeah, it sure does. And I'm questioning.
Well,
It
it
doesn't
talked
say
about an
where.
enclosed space, so it wouldn't
Yeah.
be national
And-
airspace.
Indoors, so FAA has a jurisdiction because of that.
Well, it says nettings and barriers maintain the drones within safe boundaries. So it
Yeah, it
doesn't
kinda
necessarily
depends.
sound like it's indoors. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. Like I said, this
Well,
article is extremely vague.
netting does keep it outside the national airspace system because as long as it can't leave the nets, that it's not considered
Okay.
in the national airspace system. At least
Fair.
from my understanding.
Fair. Okay.
But
So again, I
don't
have
think it
questions.
says anything about projectiles from the drone leaving the netting. Because that's the only thing I would worry about is the paintballs exiting the netting.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you want to put barriers in place, plexiglass or something to prevent stray rounds from
The FAA
taking
doesn't care
somebody
about
out.
projectiles if they're not
Or
remotely
bonus points if you hit the
piloted.
pilot.
So this would be fun. Number one, I would enjoy this. However, I still have questions.
CB
So,
Runner saying that this was done like 8 years ago. Not sure.
well,
what
I
he's
checked the
referencing
date,
to,
so
but this was at
we
least
all
a new
know
article.
sometimes. Yes, it is. So I'm sure this has been done before. I mean, we've all seen videos of
There's various air combats using things like the old laser tag type setups, but
yeah, and I've seen some old, I think probably 5 or 6 years ago, Russian guy putting some kind of rifle or pistol on a drone. But I mean, it would be intriguing to watch. But at the same time, I mean, game on, I guess.
you should require everybody to have their props rotating in. So if you hit any of the front props, the paint splatters all on your FPV camera and you can't fly anymore.
That would be brutal.
What if I don't have my FPV camera in the front of my drone?
Yeah, that would be a strategy, I guess.
Yeah, you could do like
Or in the line of propellers.
PTZ on a bubble underneath or something like that. That'd be interesting. All right. So definitely cool. So I feel like I'm burning through these articles pretty quick. I think with just a couple of us, it's a little faster, but
Dave's a little more long-winded than we are.
don't tell him that. All right. So with the Super Bowl coming up, obviously TFRs are in place it's in Vegas this year. So, however, there's a gentleman who is facing federal charges for illegally flying a drone over the M&T Bank Stadium during the AFC Championship. Um, and this was in Baltimore, Pennsylvania. Man is facing felony federal charges in connection with a drone flying over M&T Bank Stadium during the Baltimore Ravens AFC Championship game on January 28th. So this gentleman is being charged for illegally operating a drone during the playoff game, which caused a delay. Illegally operating drones poses a significant security risk that will lead to federal charges, said United States Attorney Eric Barron. Temporary flight restrictions are always in place during large sporting events. Operating a drone requires users to act responsibly and educate themselves on when and how to use them safely. Said acting special agent in charge, Joseph Rothcock of the FBI's Baltimore field office. We got the FBI involved in this. Oh my goodness. The FBI would like to remind the public of the potential dangers of operating a drone in violation of federal laws and regulations. So,
Did this person fly it right over the stadium or really close, or were they like at the edge of the 3-mile radius? Or
so it seems like, according to the Department of Justice, during the game, the incursion of an unidentified and unapproved drone was deemed a serious enough threat that the NFL security temporarily suspended the game. Maryland State police troopers tracked the movement of the drone directly over the stadium and deployed to the area where the drone landed in the 500 block of South Sharp Street in Baltimore. Herbert was located at that
Okay.
location and spoke with
directly
law
over the stadium
enforcement.
then?
So he said he purchased the DJI UAS in 2021 and used the DJI account to operate the drone. The drone was not registered, nor did Herbert possess a remote pilot certificate to operate it. So,
Well, he was just flying for fun, but
What's interesting is how the same thing happened at the same stadium maybe 3 weeks ago or so,
Mhm.
or maybe a little longer than that. I don't remember, but it was within the same season. And this seems getting more attention, but probably because it's the second time it's happened in about the same month.
Yeah, I would imagine.
And
Did
it's
did
really
they
annoying.
did they did they find the person for the first one?
I haven't heard anything about the first one
Okay.
since, but I know that they got the person from the first one,
Okay.
at least. But they haven't
So
said anything. I'm guessing this one just has more media because it's the second time in
a
around the
bigger
same month.
game and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
So
that too. But it's
um
really annoying. The only
yeah.
thing that would be nice of this is if it was the same guy who dove the Washington Monument, so he'd get charged for that too.
Jeez.
That'd be the only positive benefit.
Oh my goodness. This gentleman apparently or allegedly flew the drone approximately 100 meters or higher for approximately 2 minutes. According to the affidavit, while in flight, Herbert captured approximately 6 photos of himself in the stadium and may have taken a video as well. If convicted, Herbert faces a maximum sentence of 3 years in federal prison for knowingly operating an unregistered UAS and for knowingly serving as an airman without an airman certificate. That's huge. Um, yeah, that's 3 years in federal prison maximum. But it'll be interesting to see what they choose to have. What they choose to do with this in terms of enforcement.
so I suppose they can require that it was a Part 107 flight because they broke the recreational rules, like no registration, right? Then immediately it's a Part 107, and then they can get you for not having a Part 107 certificate.
It seems
I think
like
that was right. Something like that.
I mean, that's a tough one. So, guys, just as always, be careful where you're choosing to fly.
Don't fly over a football stadium during a game.
Yeah, and definitely pay attention to those TFRs. And if you have friends or know people who are just getting into the drone, please help educate them on stuff like this. That kind of stuff goes a long way. So, but we'll watch and see. I'll try and keep tabs on this and see what kind of enforcement action happens. But yeah, that could be pretty rough for this person. So,
What would
all
be
right,
interesting,
what's that?
along these lines, something that'd be interesting that probably shouldn't be done, but would still be interesting is if you took a DJI drone and you were going to the game, you just brought it with you, you powered it on in your car, and you just spun up the motors in your car without actually flying it, just to see if that would
Alex,
trigger
that's a
their
horrible
attention.
idea. That is a
It'd be
horrible
interesting.
idea. All right, you volunteer and we'll come bail you out of
I'm
jail.
not saying I would do it. I'm saying that'd be just interesting to see what happens and
Oh,
see if
goodness.
they could get you for anything.
What if you just live a block away from the stadium and you're flying something in your house? And it
Yeah, I
happens
mean,
to like
then you're
be a
not violating
DJI and
the DFR.
broadcasting.
you're not violating anything because you're in your house, but I mean, it would still,
It could confuse the systems that might be monitoring for something like
Yeah,
that.
maybe you call the
100%.
stadium ahead of time, like, hey, I live here. I'm flying this drone in my house, not outdoors. If you pick it up, well, you can come check it out, but I'll be indoors.
Yeah, I would just, advise caution with everything in relation to that. I mean, I don't know what enforcement action they're actually going to take, but yeah, this is they've actually filed charges. So, that's a rough one. All right. So, last but not least, I was scrolled down. So NASA releases a STEM toolkit for advanced air mobility. So NASA Aeronautics has released a new STEM toolkit focusing on advanced air mobility for educators and students of all ages. The toolkit, comprised of numerous educational activities, is a free resource for anyone who's interested in learning more about the advanced air mobility's missions, goal of enabling the use of drones and other new aircraft in our skies. Students can engage with the principles of AAM in a variety of ways, including hands on activities on topics such as coding, math, energy, the environment, and more. It is one of 3 STEM toolkits focusing on NASA's aeronautics research, the others being sustainable aviation and the Quest mission.
I thought it was sort of interesting that this seems to be lumping like drones under AAM as part of this
it
whole
is.
STEM thing. Like
Hey,
you're having students do STEM activities about drones, but like pretending that the drones are carrying people or something, but clearly they're
So
not.
I went to the actual STEM website where the stuff is, and let me see if I can scroll down. Right here is the STEM toolkit for AAM. So they do a couple different things with, and I didn't dive into these. Some of these are videos, and they've got propeller design challenge, propelling the payload challenge, how to do pilot logbooks. There's making sensors, and I started watching this video, but I didn't get it all the way through. But household supplies to make sensors with NASA. So they were using different like balloons and stuff like that to make different types of kind of like analog sensors. Propeller cars. Search and rescue for UAS search and rescue, how to
Yeah,
deliver.
search and rescue when I think AAM, I think air taxis. I don't think people using drones to
Correct.
search and rescue.
Yeah, and I would agree with you on that. And it does seem like NASA's like kind of lumping it all, and I feel like that's because the FAA has kind of dissolved the
Yeah, the DAC, and made the ACK.
Yeah, and then kind of dissolve that. Now it's under air mobility and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know if it's just they're trying to homogenize it all into one category instead of all these disparate ones. But I mean, there's some interesting stuff. Let me see. I'll click the search and rescue one. So it's kind of got a little syllabus here, and so students will apply the steps of engineering design to successfully complete a team challenge, conduct research, and write a proposal and create a basic budget. Program a spherical robot using JavaScript or block programming to complete various level challenges. Design and build test solutions for each problem, and create a presentation and share results. So let's see. Where does this go? We'll dig in a little bit. Oh, 28 pages. So yeah, it's a full-on curriculum and help with natural disasters. So yeah, there's a whole thing in here, but this would be interesting to go through. To be honest, I might look at this a little bit heavier, but
What is
definitely.
that diagram? Oh, a chariot.
Let's see. Chariot. The chariot pictured here can be shared to assist students in their initial design. However, for best results, encourage students to be creative and engineer their own designs for each challenge. So this one's
What is that? What is that channel? It looks like there's a toothpick pointing out of one end.
so you're supposed to use a Sphero robotic ball or other spherical programmable robot to probably put in the cup. Let's see. Let's see. Students will explore challenges engineers face through different phases of NASA missions as they conduct research, propose a solution, create a design. Post-natural disaster scenario. This challenge will task teams with up to 5 potential problems.
I'm sure it makes sense when you read the instructions, but just taking that photo out of context, no clue what it's doing.
I think the little Sphero goes in the cup and it drags, whatever else
Like, are you
along
jousting
with it.
with the toothpick? Are you trying to pop a balloon, or what's what's
Yeah.
going on?
So definitely interesting. There's scoring. There's they talk about the Ingenuity here. So hey, bonus points for NASA there. So yeah, so there's definitely some materials here and handouts and all that kind of stuff. So pretty cool. It's a little weird that everything's getting lumped under. I'm with you, Dan. Everything's getting lumped under AAM now,
Yeah,
but
but it's good to see some completely out in the open, free STEM information for educators to use for drone-related stuff.
Absolutely. And I mean, I don't know if NASA and FAA are relaying everything, UAS to AAM because that's their end goal. But there's 100,000 other uses for UAS besides air mobility, right? There's agriculture, there's inspection, there's search and rescue, which this one kind of tackles, and hundreds of other uses, as well as just competition, right? Stuff Alex does, racing and freestyle and all those different
And I
things.
think some
So
of it was even talking about like aerial mapping of things and
let's see, let's go back here. Let's see what else we got. So we got delivery and navigating obstacles. So all kinds of interesting stuff here. But there's, if you're interested, this is all from NASA. There's other stuff here. There's 3D printing files for the X59 and the X66, which one of them looks like a very hypersonic jet. I don't know enough about these models of planes, but free ebooks. So if you're looking for something, maybe you got kids that are interested in this kind of stuff, there's a lot of resources here to kind of help them along that path. There's lineup. Let's see, simulators, flyby math, all kinds of stuff. So definitely heck, there's paper airplanes, in case you don't know how to make a paper airplane. So, but yeah, definitely cool stuff. And that kind of wraps up what I have for this evening. So I took up about half our time. So
I like CB Runner's comment is they're wanting kids to develop the tech to rescue the helicopter on Mars. Rescue
hey, I'm
Ingenuity.
down for that. Let's do it. Let's do
That's
it.
what that little diagram was for. That little, the cup with the chariot thing on it.
I'm just gonna scoop it up and carry it back. It'll be fine. Thanks, CB. Thanks for supporting my wife's goal of rescuing the little helicopter. All right, Dan, you got anything for us this evening?
I don't. Not anything new or interesting since our last meeting.
All right, Alex, what do you got? Anything fun going on?
All I have is the global qualifier track design contest has opened up.
Nice.
So you have from February 16th to the 26th, you can submit a track to be considered for the global qualifier this season. So that means that we'll probably get dozens. Yeah, I'll share the screen.
Yeah, please.
But here we go. Share. So yeah, so the timeline for it. So February 16th, 26th, when you can submit tracks, and there's a couple different rules for building the tracks. You have to use 10 gates and 5 flags. And then a couple of other different things on here. There's a GQ template for the area you have. After the 26th, there's going to be 3 judges that pick their top 2 tracks each over between the 26th to March 6th. And so the judges will narrow that down. All track submissions are going to be anonymous this year, so that way there
That's
isn't
good.
any bias from who's who as in pilots and drone racing. Then for community voting, after the judges narrow it down, the community is going to actually vote again for what their favorite track is amongst the 6 finalists. And then on the 22nd, we'll get our official GQ track for the season, with the GQ season beginning on March 29th. And that's kind of what we got.
So the question is Alex going to be submitting a design?
If I find time, otherwise I might be too lazy and I'm not. Well, not necessarily too lazy, but busy with school and
Yeah.
not have extra time.
Have you submitted one in the past before?
No.
Oh, wow.
But I have a couple ideas for obstacles that I'd want to put in and flight paths I'd want to do. I just haven't actually put it together in the sim. And
so you've got to find
submitted
somebody
one.
who's building a track but needs a couple more features that you could throw into theirs. And
Team up.
Yeah. So like one of the things is you have to be within a 200-foot by 100-foot boundary, and you don't really want the flight line to go out of that boundary.
Mm-hmm.
So there's
Cool.
some of that kind of stuff. But yeah,
This is all on MultiGP's website, right?
Yes, multigp.com/2024 -GQ track contest.
Nice. Cool. Well, definitely look forward to see what the map's going to be this year, and definitely pretty cool.
oh, Josh, I do actually have two small
Yeah.
things that I remembered. And as CB Runner pointed out in the chat, he's asking about the remote ID comparison. We
Yes.
did go live with a small remote ID comparison web page. Oh, let's see. Sharing. This one, share it. So a minor update to our website. There's a new remote ID tab that I've kind of filed a few remote ID things under. And we've got this remote ID modules page where it just briefly talks about remote ID modules. We've got a link to a spreadsheet where we have a whole bunch of comparisons of all the specs of various modules that we know about. And then down here, there's the modules that we personally have bought and have done some testing on, and you can click on one of these modules and you can read really quick, get a link to their website, some pros and some cons of each one, and why you might want this module versus another one, like the Phoenix MRID. You might want for an FPV drone, where something like the Holy Stone is more of an all built in one with the battery, which might work better for your DJI stuff where you don't have easy access to the power. So not a whole lot here, but just a really quick guide to a few remote ID modules and try to help point people in the right direction. Let's see. The other thing that if Dave was here, he could talk more about is we added some chartering to the FPV Freedom Coalition, and maybe you can explain more of what chartering is and why we changed
absolutely.
our bylaws to include chartering.
So one of the things that we decided to do, and actually, could you bring that back up for me?
Sure.
Sorry.
That's all right.
So one of the things we decided to do was basically charter utilizing our CBO to charter organizations to allow primary and secondary schools to fly under recreational rules on school grounds. So the Congress has a draft in the Reauthorization Act, which allows primary and secondary school attendees to fly under those. But they need to obviously get that passed, provide a rule or an advisory circular. However, we don't know when that's going to happen. And we don't know in terms of the FAA reauthorization, that's not done yet. And then when they're going to actually authorize that. So we're going to offer our chartering through us. So each team, and a team is a very loose term here, but minimum of 3 people. We're only requiring the lead person who is initiating the charter for the team to be a member, either an adult member or a what we call our founding members. And they just need to communicate with us, give us the documentation that says, hey, my school is authorizing this. That focal person, we'll work with that person to make sure everything's in order. And they just need to be over 18 and kind of just talk to us. And
yeah, we're trying to make it simple, easy, as low cost as possible, low barrier of entry for the whole thing, but still we need some sort of a barrier of entry and some contact person to make this whole chartering thing legit.
Yeah. So now there's a couple, caveats here is that we're not obviously responsible for anything that happens. And all that's here in the bylaws and the instructions. This is limited to the grounds of the school or organization that's applying for this. So you can only fly on school grounds. And there's no organizational requirements. We don't require you to have meetings or anything like that. If you want insurance, that's on you. We're not providing any of that. It's just a way for you to say, hey, we're a charter under this organization. We're flying by FPVFC rules. And again, this is all private, so we're not, unless you say we can, we're not going to advertise that you have this charter through us. It's just a way to kind of, get STEM going in some of these primary and secondary schools and help you guys or help these organizations facilitate that. So, pretty simple process. It's not convoluted at all. I think it's like a page worth of instructions. There's nothing much there. So, and you just, once you're going, if you guys, if somebody wants to dissolve this, just let us know and we'll just take you off the books, kind of thing. So, yeah, that's really it. So, I'll let Dave next community meeting. He can definitely talk a little bit more about this, but yeah, it's just pretty straightforward. So, if you are a school and you feel like you want to do a charter, then reach out. Our email addresses are on our website. So, and we can help you facilitate that. So,
Maybe runner's
definitely.
asking, is this like declaring you are a CBO proxy?
Ish. It's kind of like I guess it would fall under kind of similar to like a flying site for AMA. They're chartered under that main organization. They're kind of an entity on their own, but you're flying by their rules, so it's a little more official kind of thing. So, and again, I'm not super well versed in the chartering. I did help write this in terms of just cleaning up some of this, but this is definitely Dave's baby. And it's definitely a great thing, and definitely within the mandate of CBOs to do at this point. So,
Yeah, and kind of like you mentioned before, it's something the FAA says CBOs can do, and it allows high schools to do things they otherwise couldn't do if they were not chartered by a CBO.
yeah. So this is different from like a FRIA situation. So, I mean, any kind of regulations, unless a FRIA was established, you'd still have to fly with, modules or standard remote ID or anything like that. But
I would imagine a lot of, if we chartered somebody and they wanted a place to fly, we would help apply
provide
for
a FRIA,
near our part of their school grounds or something.
Absolutely, yeah. So that's definitely something we could help them with. So, but yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. So, like I said, I'll let Dave kind of talk about this a little more in depth on the next town hall. But yeah, I mean, all in all, it's fairly straightforward. If you need help, reach out. We'll step you in the right direction. So, all right, all right. What else? That it? Yeah, I feel like that's about it for this evening, guys. So, appreciate you guys joining us. Thank you, CB Runner, for the questions and the interaction. We definitely appreciate that. And then with that, we'll see you all in another 2 weeks, I think. So, thank you.
All right, see ya.
Have a good night.
Fly so high, I'm hypnotized. What's up is down, what's left is right. Chasing stars and holding you. I can't see the end, but we'll see it through.